From Fox, where we continue to bring you top stories, headlines, all in the mix right here on Live Now. I am your host, Mike Pache, as we continue to give you updates as well as the devastation in Maui continues there as search and rescue efforts continue right now. But I want to bring in a very special guest here on Live Now from Fox. This is Tulsi Gabbard, the former Hawaii congresswoman representing the 2nd District there, and we appreciate you joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And I have to ask, just what was your first reaction when you saw the devastation?
I mean, to say that it is heartbreaking is an understatement. The amount of loss and devastation and destruction is really difficult to comprehend or to justify in putting into words. I spent yesterday with a lot of families, many of whom for generations have lived in this community, Native Hawaiian families who, for as long as they can remember, this has been their home. It's been their town. It's been their community. It's known as a famous tourist destination. But this place, Lahaina, is very much a center of Hawaii's history. So to see within a matter of hours how this town has been just turned into total ash without any real concept of exactly how many people perished in this wildfire. That's exactly the situation people here on Maui are facing. Right alongside that, there are a number of surrounding communities around Lahaina who have been and are continuing to struggle and suffer in the aftermath of this disaster. Many of them have been cut off and remain cut off with communications. The cell phone tower signals are weak or not working at all. They don't have access to internet. There are a few Starlink boxes here and there. You can go and park yourself somewhere on a corner for a little bit to try to log on and connect with your family and friends. But, some of the things that these communities are asking for are very simple. The means to communicate, VHF radios. They need to be able to talk to the county, the state, the federal officials who are supposed to be here providing support for them. The beautiful story in all of this, as we've seen in other disasters, what makes this community so special is how even those who have lost everything are working tirelessly to help their neighbor, to help their friend, to help take care of each other, both to make sure their communities remain safe and secure from looters, but also to make sure that those basic needs are met, whether it's food, water, medicine, making sure that the elderly and the children are taken care of. So the community is stepping up. They are coming together like never before. We need to make sure that the right thing is done and providing them the support they need now, both from government officials and the many who have generously made contributions to support this community, but also to make sure that they are respected and honored as this rebuilding process conversation begins.
Yeah, Tulsi, you make such great points there, and really just showing the human dignity in it all when you see there the people that have really lost everything, but were able to survive and then are able to volunteer there and do what they can there to help their neighbors out. And it must be a difficult time for them, obviously losing maybe loved ones, losing property, but going forward here, not knowing what the future of the land will be.
That's a very serious issue. We are an island state. We are the most remote island chain in the world, and this community, which includes a lot of Native Hawaiians, have lived here for generations. It is a very real and present fear that developers will come in, that the state will take total control of the land, that they will lose their ancestral homes, and that the historic and sacred nature of this place will be consumed by those who have outside interests and don't have the well-being of the people of this community and their culture and their history at heart. So it's, I met yesterday with a highly respected Native Hawaiian leader, Archie Kalepa. He is a world famous surfer. He is a mentor in this community and leading the charge in the immediate disaster response. But he was moved to tears as he expressed his own fears that people would be forced to leave Hawaii and go and find someplace else to live because they cannot go back and rebuild their homes. His comment was, what is Hawaii without Hawaiians? And so he is doing all that he can now, even as they're trying to go from one day to the next, to start these conversations to make sure that the spirit and the heart of Lahaina, of Maui, and of Hawaii remains as we look to what that rebuilding process is.
Yeah, so true there. And going forward here, these next 72 hours are going to be very, very critical here. What are you hoping for as far as more supplies and aid coming to this area that has been so desperately in need? What is it going to look like here in these next couple of days when a lot of focus needs to continue to be on Maui?
Well, communication is everything all the time, but especially in a time of disaster. And unfortunately, that communication is not robust at this point. There are a lot of communities, as I mentioned, who still don't have the means to communicate from one town to the next, what to speak of to government officials and those who should be dialed in on what kind of support these communities need right now. So communication, that's as simple as getting VHF radios out to these different communities. That's something that I'm working on right now. That will enable a more organized deployment of needed resources to those who need it the most. The next step here is making sure that the state and federal leadership, who have just stood up a joint task force as of last night, are getting that direct communication, again, to be able to deploy the resources that we already have here in this state to those who need it the most. Those are the two critical things here that need to be focused on, even as the recovery of remains and identification of those who have perished in this fire in that front street, in that Lahaina town proper, continues.
Yeah, when we see these images that continue to be played out there, it's something that we have really just never seen associated with a wildfire, and to think that it has happened to such a beautiful area and with so much history, I mean, it's heartbreaking.
It is, and I am moved to tears on almost a daily basis. Seeing those images. I represented this community for 8 years as a member of Congress, have walked those streets countless times, have so many close friends and those who I've worked with in the community, and to see this loss that really occurred with no notice, and the after action review needs to take place when this is all said and done to determine how to better create a resilient community and prevent this kind of disaster again. But it doesn't take away from the fact that those who were in that area, those who lost their lives, they didn't have any time. They didn't have any time to get themselves to a safe place. And those who did often did so with whatever they had on their hand. There's a lot of people who are here who got away with just their phone. They don't have any wallets. They don't have any identification. They don't have anything else but what they had on their person and could literally run away with or swim away with. I think there's so many lessons to be learned here, but at a personal and deeply spiritual level, it's a reminder of how short life is, how temporary life is, and how important it is for us to make the most of every single moment and day that we have to be of service, to make a positive impact on others around us, and to live that purposeful life of serving a purpose higher than our own.
That is so true, and I'm so glad that you said that. Tulsi, thank you so much for coming on here on Live Now from Fox and really giving us some insight about what is going on now and what needs to be done coming up for the future. We really appreciate it here on Live Now.
Thank you.
Take care. And we will continue to follow always the latest coming out of the devastation there and wait for more updates. And when that happens, we will bring it to you right here on Live Now from Fox. But I do want to slide away for another 2-minute break. Stay right here with us. Always more to come on Live Now from Fox.